The idea is very simple. You have something that is controlled by a switch in your home. You want to make this thing smart, but it's a multi-pole switch, meaning you could turn it off from this or a different switch. So a regular smart switch is not going to cut it. That's where the Tapo S515 smart light switch comes in, which is a step up from the Tapo S505, which is just a single pole smart switch. So if you're not having deja vu from my last review, Tapo has another smart switch to solve your exact problem. I'll be going over everything from setup to all that you can do in the application. I'm Wanderer 001. We've got a lot to cover. Let's get into it. And for those of you who have seen my review of the Tapo S505, this is actually the 505. The 515 and 505 look exactly the same on the surface and even behind the scenes with their wiring, but this one hopefully is lighted better than the last one. So they look exactly the same, functionality, a little different. Starting things off with some quick hardware, you are looking at 5.04 by 3.33 and 1.42 in depth, which is sitting behind the wall here. The smart switch itself operates over the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi spectrum, but does also support Bluetooth, but that is just for setup. The max load is 15 amps for general use, about 600 watts incandescent. One of the big factors, which is why I chose the Tapo light switch over others, is the amount of third-party software that it supports. Matter, Apple Home, Alexa, Google Assistant, and Samsung SmartThings, which is going to give you a lot of options should you not want to play within the Tapo ecosystem and want to look elsewhere or build your own. Now, I did mention that this is a multi-pole switch, not a single pole like the 505 was. It has the ability for single, so you can operate it as a single if you wanted to, four-way and three-way. The switch also, just like the 505, you can see my lighting has changed. It doesn't toggle on and off, up and down. It's a single push right there. There also is an LED indicator light right there. The faceplate itself also is kind of like integrated into the light switch. But the faceplate is not all that we get with the S515. Let me show you what else you get. Screws and wire caps. We have the actual switch itself. Matter setup sticker, cover plate separately, which I appreciate. Quick start guide, Tapo labeling stickers, which is nice. And then frequently asked questions. Moving on, as I continue to attempt to rewire and fix things in my house, installation still had to get a third party to come in and do it for me because I found out that my multi-pole required a hotline for continuous power to it, which my light switch did not have, so I needed somebody to come and do that. If you have a ground wire already and have changed out a light switch before and have a hot connector already set up, this won't be an issue for you. It's not terribly difficult to do, and you may not need to call somebody in like I did. Setup, one of the things I appreciate about this particular style light switch is that even though I had it installed while I was working my day job and came back after hours to set it up, it was ready to go and still function as a regular light switch without me having to worry, and I could set it up after the fact. Let me show you what that was like. Here you can see it's already installed and it's red, letting me know it needs to be set up. Here we have the application. Come to the upper right-hand corner, add a device. Notice it's already sending a signal that this needs to be set up. If it's not, you can simply search for the name, Tapo S515, up here, and it will show up. But we're gonna use this quick toggle right here to do it. So I'm gonna select it, and it is connecting the Tapo device to the network. And sorry, the lighting's not great. It's taking a while. So if you have pre-existing Tapo devices and you need to access your network, that's it, pairing up to Alexa. Just make sure you're on the correct Wi-Fi network, which is generally why it would find something like that. We're gonna give it a name now and select next, and it's asking us where is this going to be located. This is mostly for grouping, so I'm gonna say it's for the basement grouping, and we assign a picture to it. This is gonna be for a trigger to group a bunch of lights together. So I'm gonna say next, check for firmware. Everything looks good, so we're good to go. When is it going to check for firmware? I'm going to change it because I have a lot of default Tapo devices that check during that time frame. And here we go, new. And if I click this, it's going to toggle on and off, letting me know that setup is complete. Now that we've seen what setup is like, what's next? That's controlling this light switch remotely, setting up schedules, estimating your energy bill, which is one of the big things that this has over the 505, that's all done through the application. Let me show you. You could see right here, I have it in the basement group, but it is this first icon right here. And right from the Tapo page, we can turn this on and off, and you can see it indicates blue. I can come in here and I can tap this to come into the actual smart switch itself. And here we could see its name, its location, its power status, whether that's on or off. You can see there's a nice little blue animation letting you know things are lighting up. As you can see here, this device will turn off after, and then there's a countdown timer. I will show you what that is a little later. Coming down, we have our energy usage. This is different than its single pole equivalent, which gives you time usage as opposed to power usage. I like to know power over time of use, but here we could see today's stats and this month's stats. So we could see runtime of 2 hours, energy usage of, and then current power usage is less than a watt. And if we come over here, you could see the same thing. If I go show more, we can see it will give me a breakdown for here's today. If we select edit here, we can do this for our bill. We can do a single bill, we can do periodic billing, but if I select next, it's gonna ask me price per kilowatt. So for me, that's roughly that. You can change your currency, and we'll hit send. So now we have a new option at the back here, bill this month, which is showing me less than 1 cent. So we can come in here and we can edit it. So if I want, I can come in here and adjust this to something like that, and we'll hit save. And you can see it's showing less than 1 cent. And that's primarily because of how long I leave this on for. So you leave it on longer, knowing your price per bill is good. We can also come in here and instead of single bill, we can do periodic billing. Save, and then that gives us more options. Individual versus summer pricing. We could say summer starts here, winter starts here, and then set time of date use. So weekends, you could set that, and then you have off-peak, mid-peak, peak, and you enter a value and then have currency. And this will give you a better breakdown, but for where I live, I don't have that. I just have singular billing, one flat fee for everything. If you need to know more, that's how you can get to it. And then I have a day, a month, and a year. And here we have some stats right there. So if I click on one of these, it will give me that information. So if I come to the month, you could see roughly what I've been doing this month so far. And you could see my spikes. And then if I come to my year, here you can see, there's my yearly data. And I can expand any of these that I want to. If I come back, month might be a little more. So here I can see exactly when, and then you can see I could swipe to bring it to the previous month. So this is all great. I enjoy data, and I like the fact that they give us all this information. If we come back up to the top here, we have power, and this is going to show us within the last 24 hours and then the past 7 days. So this particular switch goes into my basement, and I really only spend time down there doing laundry on the weekend. So that's where my spikes come from, and we can kind of get a better idea of that here if you see the full 7 day. Just above the power, there is a calendar icon, which will actually give you, hey, here's what your power usage looks like for every day of the week. And you can see some of these are grayed out because, well, there was 0 power usage. And if I tap, there's 0 power usage. So here, it even gives you a little chart up there. If I select the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner, I can export all of my data, or I can delete this data. So if you really like data and want to hold on to it, that's what you can do. Now, as we move down, we have our schedule. If I select schedule, notice there's nothing here right now, but if I can press this plus sign in the upper right-hand corner, this will allow me to set a custom time for on or off, and then days of the week. You can also set up sunrise or sunset. Just keep in mind, if you're going to set up a turn on schedule, it's a good idea to also set up a turn off schedule to make sure that the switch goes off on its own. We have our timer. This will allow you to set up a turn the device on or turn the device off after X amount of time, and then you would start it. This is different than the countdown timer that you saw when we first were looking at this. This is a start immediately type of thing. To the right of that, we have our away mode. This will allow you to set a between this time, and this is adjustable. We simply come in here, or sunset and sunrise, just like you saw, and set our dates and times. What this will do is randomly turn on and off your light switch to mimic activity, such as you being home. Coming down, we have our smart actions right here. They're giving you a little preview of some of the things that you can do, but this is Tapo's very simple if this then that scenario. And in my case, you could see I actually set up 2 scenarios where I use this light switch to turn on all the other lights in my basement. So I have one for turn them on and then one for turn them off. If you wanted to create a new one, simply select the plus sign in the upper right hand corner. You would come to automations and then you would select your effective time. In my case, I always want this to happen when, and then you select a trigger. So a device, time change, or in data right now, arrive or leave. So that's geofencing. So in my case, when my light switch is triggered, you could add an if clause, but then my lights turn on and I have to select all the lights individually. But then I also had to create an off status for them. It's really simple to do, and one of the things I like about Tapo's ecosystem. Coming down, we have our device sharing. Right now I'm not sharing this with anybody, but if I wanted to, simply select that share button. They will need their own Tapo account and an email address, and then you could share your device with them. Support Center, this will show you all the information that you need to know about this product right here, if you're looking for some of the manuals that you probably lost when you first opened this. And then favorite, there is a favorites page on the front page. If you want to make sure that this is there, make sure to select that. But those are all of our controls. If we come up to the upper right-hand corner, we have our settings icon. This will allow us to change the device icon, change the device name, change the device location, which is really just its grouping within the application. Delayed shutoff, on or off. If you turn this off, what will happen is it will actually take time before an action happens. So if I push the button to turn it on, it might take a little bit to get there. And then the same thing with turning it off. So if you're looking for that, that's where that is. You have your auto off timer. This is where I set that up. So auto off after 10 minutes. So if I forget to turn off my basement lights, it will automatically turn this light off, which then tells all the other lights in my basement to go off as well. I like that. You have your status light, auto, off, or night mode. If you select night mode, you can actually select a time frame as to when that light will be off. So if you have this in a bedroom and don't want it on during a specific time period, you can set that up. Groups, I don't have this as part of any group, but if you wanted to, simply come in here, select add a group, and then in my case, I could add it to basement lights, but since this is the controller of that group, I didn't want to add it to the group. This is another place where we can access our smart actions, just like we saw on the controls page. And then coming down, we have device info, lots of sensitive information in there. Won't be showing you that. You have your Matter setup code, also won't be showing you that. But here we have our firmware update. So if you need to check and manually update your firmware, you can do so, or you can check your auto firmware update from this location. And at the bottom of this page, we have our remove. And that has been everything that we can do for the Tapo S515 in the Tapo app. One of the primary concerns that I run into with a smart light switch is, well, if the power goes out, it's not going to work. But what if it loses connectivity to your Wi-Fi, or your Wi-Fi network goes out and you still have power? Does this function as a normal light switch should? And it does. The only problem is, for me, I have a Tapo trigger to turn on the other lights in my basement from this. If the Wi-Fi goes out, this will not trigger the other devices, the other lights that I have, but it will turn on the appliance or light that is attached to that. Just food for thought, something I wanted to make you aware of. Now, even though I really like Tapo's light switches, that doesn't mean that they're not without their faults, and I wanted to bring a few cons up for your consideration. First and foremost, this does need a ground wire, so if you don't have one, you're going to have to install one or get somebody to do it for you. Second, I learned through the installation that it's not a true multi-pole without an extra power line to it. So you need to have the wiring for this to actually be a multi-pole. And yes, there are probably electricians out there yelling at me. I'm not an electrician. I didn't know that. So again, make sure that you have compatible wiring for this. I did not, and had to get that installed when I had this done. However, if there's something in your home that is controlled by a multi-pole switch and you're looking for a simple way to make it smart, then the Tapo S515 is the way to go. It works great as a standalone smart device, and even better if you're using it as a trigger for other smart lighting you may not be able to control from a switch. And for those that like to monitor their bills, the fact that you can do so from this light switch is great. Because of that, I can strongly recommend it. If this sounds like the smart switch you've been looking for, I will have a link where you can pick one up for yourself in the description area below. If you appreciate the time and effort that goes into making comprehensive videos like this, make sure to hit that like button to help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here and want to be notified of my next review, hit that subscribe button. Still not sure this is the right smart light switch for you? On screen now, I'll have 2 other reviews that I've done to help you make a more informed decision for yourself.